Okay, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and take a weapon we've modeled and created, get it from Blender into Ghost Recon, and we're going to set it up with a new gun file and all kinds of other fun stuff. So it's going to be a start to finish kind of process of getting it into game from Blender. And so first things first is you need to scale it in Blender however you see fit. Usually what I do is I just create a cube, bring out the end panel here, and where it says dimensions, I will make sure that it's the right dimensions of the weapon. So if it's only like 1.7 meters long, I'll make sure I do that, etc., etc. And then I'll create this cube. But what I'll do is I will actually take my weapon model and I'll scale it down to fit into that cube so that it's nice and positioned correctly. Now, I already done that, so we're not going to do that now. I just wanted to explain the process. Once that is done, I would go ahead and apply, press Shift A, apply, Control A, sorry. I would do a rotation and scale, and I wouldn't change the location. I would just leave the location alone, but take this object, select it, make sure it's just one solid mesh, export wavefront OBJ file, and export it as whatever name your weapon is going to be, or whatever name you want to use. Just OBJ objects. We're going to do Z up and negative Y forward, and that's going to get it into 3D Sumax 5 just fine. I leave the scale alone in Blender. I don't touch that. Instead, what I do is when I import it in Max 5, I'll make sure I adjust it as needed. So export your file and remember where you put it because you're going to need it in a second. Now, when you get into 3D Studio Max 5, you're going to need a reference model for the first time. This is going to be useful information here because it kind of helps you set up a weapon to start with. Once you set up one weapon, though, whether it be a rifle or a pistol or whatever the case, you won't really need to do this whole process over and over. So, but you will need the Island Thunder extra CD. There should be a mission pack model on it. If not, there is one on gr.net downloads. I'm going to put a little link in this, a link where I post this anyways, so that you can get it. You'll get the mission pack model. You'll get an example, the UMP example, and everything else, so you can work with that. But mission pack model.max, you want to open it. We'll go ahead and do that. Pretty important. Also, your texture file itself, if you take a look, now I've already done this, so it's not a big deal, but you will want to create your RSB file. Okay, so wherever your texture is, load it up, save it as RSB file. In this case, I usually prefix my stuff so that it works with other mods well. So I'll do pz underscore ump40 and .rsb, save it, and you got different options here you can use. I just usually click right here on the second option, just click OK. Unless there's an alpha channel, you might want to do alpha blended, or you might want to do like alpha tested or something like that. But in this case, I don't have that, so we're not going to worry about it. Save your file out, and we've loaded up the model here. Now we need to import the model, so we're going to go import, find our UMP, open. I'm bringing it in as multiple group. It's going to come in as a group. I got to ungroup it when that happens, but you could just do single. And so I'm going to do that. Make sure I'm doing the texture coordinates and the normals. I'm not doing any smooth groups or anything else, so I can click OK. Unsupported commands might say that. Okay, doesn't really matter. I do turn snapping off here. When I load this file up, it always has snapping on. I just turn it off. I leave the angle snap on. So the weapon comes in now, and you can just barely see it poking out there. And I will rotate it 90 degrees like so. So it came in vertically. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it out, and it's also rotated the wrong way. I need it 180 degrees this direction, and I'm going to line it up with his hand. Now, sometimes this can be a little bit disorienting. You can change the zoom selected here. You can change it to zoom selected, which is a little white cube, and then the white arc is rotate around object selected. So I can now press Z, and then I can hold the Alt middle mouse button and rotate around, or just pan with no mouse, and it stays pretty well centered and focused. Just going to move it into position real quick. Don't take too much time trying to get this too perfect, because every character has a little bit of a difference to them. Sometimes the gloves of like the ghost characters are a little bit different than, let's say, the other character models, like this guy, for example. And so you just want to get it roughly in the right place. And you can see, not even rotating it or nothing, just positioning it like so is very good for Ghost Recon. And you can get it lined up pretty well. Now this hand will be aligned differently than the ghost characters. And you can always shift things around later, a little bit of trial and error, so you can align it for different characters in game. All you got to do is just jump in and out of game to kind of see where it is and then move things around. But for now, this is good. All right, we're not having any problems with that. What I want to do is go to my asset browser. I do want to find the file, the RSB file, and you can see here it is. Take your RSB file, the one that you're going to end up putting in your mods folder, and make sure it's named accordingly, and apply it to the model. It's going to help you out. All right, I know I need 2 helper points to start with. The rest I'll add later, but for now I need 2. So we're going to go to the create panel here, go to little helper point area. What is that called? Just, yeah, helpers. Click point. I'm just going to create 2 right here in 3D space. Not even going to think about it. I'm going to hide this guy. So I'm going to right click, hide selection. He's gone. I'm going to line 1 up first. So I'm going to click the little line tool up here. I'm going to place it on this very end bone here. I'm going to align it to X, Y, Z, and X, Y, and Z. Okay, and it'll do all the work for me that I need. All right, so I click apply, and it's done. Same deal with this one here. We're going to go over here. Oops, not mirror it, sorry. Align, and we're going to align to this middle bone here, this spine top bone. Same process, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. You can click apply or just OK, it doesn't really matter. And so those are done. Pretty good there. This is positioned correctly, so we're good there. We need to link it. We're going to use select and link. We're going to grab the model, drag, and link to the helper. Okay, not the bone, the helper. You'll see it flash white. That means you did it right. And normally what this does is it allows you to move the helper and the weapon will follow. In this case, I actually just told you backwards. We actually need to do the helper to the weapon because we got to do the other one first, or something else real quick. So we need that helper point to follow with the weapon. Now, I can unhide all again. I need the character to be visible for this. I'm going to rotate, and remember I got snap rotation on, so it rotates 90 degrees. It rotates in increments of what, like 45 degrees. So I want it to just rotate it 90 degrees back up. We're going to actually pull it back down over here. So when you holster a weapon normally, I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. And I'm going to kind of position the barrel down a little bit, about 45 degrees, something like that. Normally the holster, the sling anyways, when you're holstering your weapon, will wrap around behind your back. And so this weapon will be placed something like so. The barrel would point to the left if it's a right-handed shooter. So here you go. This was a right hand, so it's a right-handed shooter. You can see how we got it set up now. All right. For the character here, he has no kit on him. He has no body armor, nothing really going on. So it'd be a little bit wise to pull it out quite a bit if you're going to put it, you want to see it positioned correctly on a ghost character or somebody with body armor and stuff. Unfortunately, it won't ever look right on him again, but it will look right on the other characters. Now, so something like that roughly will be fine. When your character goes to crouch, it's going to just pretty much straighten up. So what you want to do is this. All right. You can put it high, you can put it low. I think just about mid-body is fine. But you might want to get a little trial and error here as well. And you're probably going to run into a little bit of issues every now and then. So just keep that in mind. All right. Um, at this point, I would save this, and I would save this scene specifically as I just save a copy of it somewhere because I want to be able to just get back to this point real quick if I do mess up on the holster point. That way I don't have to keep going back and forth and doing things over and over and over again. I don't need the character now. He's done. I don't need him. I'm going to grab this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm going to hide them real quick. I don't need the bones. They're gone. I can unhide all now. I do need to do one thing before I start moving stuff around, and that is I need to link all of these 2 points here, this one and this one, and I need to make sure, oops, sorry, the weapon in this point, I need to link to the right-hand point, make sure it flashes, because we need to be able to move this guy around now, okay? And once we can move that around, we can actually come down here to the bottom, and we can just hit 0, tab, 0, tab, 0, place it into the scene center. So if you remember what the scene center is, the world of origin, that's 0, 0, 0. That's where we're at. The right-hand helper point really isn't what determines where the right hand goes in Ghost Recon. It's actually the world center. So if you were to delete this point right now, it wouldn't matter. As long as the weapon is placed in relationship to the scene center, it will show up correctly in game. So it's advisable, though, just to keep the right-hand helper point just because. I'm going to turn over to rotation. Just press E. You can turn rotate on. And I'm also going to zero these out. So 0, 0, 0. All right. That's going to position everything correctly so that when I export it to game, it will work just fine. All right. And I'm going to turn that grid off real quick. You can see we have 2 helper points right now. This is not a big deal. This should be looking pretty straight up and forward. So Y going down Y, X going down X, and Z going up and down. This guy should be a little bit canted, so it should look a little bit different. Now what I'm going to do is create some more helper points real quick. This is just to knock them out. We're going to need one for the muzzle flash, so we're going to put one way up here at the front. Sometimes, you got to line these up. Just kind of pay attention to where you cross the model and whatnot. It's not too hard to get it aligned, but it can be a little bit annoying because it doesn't like to focus on it. Of course, there's always other ways you can minimize. In this view, come over here and just start knocking it out this way as well. So maybe you want it right at the tip, or maybe you got a flash suppressor. You might want to put it back a little bit, but you can go ahead and position it as needed. This is going to be the muzzle flash. Okay. Now I'm just going to duplicate this. Shift D should allow you to duplicate, or holding Shift and sliding should allow you to duplicate it. I'm going to go ahead and do another copy. I'm not going to name it yet. I'm going to position it kind of to the right side of the weapon. This is going to be the brass ejection point. And the way that works out is, if you take a look here, if I can get some bearing on what's going on. Okay. Brass ejection point needs to go near the ejection port so that the brass comes out. Now you can place it inside the model a little bit, and that'll make it look a little bit nicer when the brass comes out, in my opinion. Or you can place it right on the edge. It doesn't really matter. Okay. One more we need to do real quick. We're going to press Shift and bring it down. Now this one's going to be trial and error for sure. Normally, what I find that works best is right around the magazine, if it's a forward-facing weapon, or it's not a bullpup weapon. Right around somewhere there is going to be your left-hand point, and this one does matter. So you have to kind of guesstimate the first time you do it, and then go in the game and check it, and usually you only have to move it up or down or left or right a little bit, and you can get that pretty spot on real quick, but it needs to set off to the side a little bit. And then you also need to have it drawn back a little bit, because this is where the wrist is going to go and the hand's actually going to go up here. And so that's pretty straightforward. Now I have a little cheat sheet here of, let's see if I have it. There we go. Weapon helper points. So of course you can always just copy and paste these. We got the right hand weapon point, which I'll just rename real quick. So I'm going to copy and paste it in, right hand point. We got the left hand point. Okay. We have the the muzzle flash point. So we got muzzle flash point now. Brass ejection point, which might be hard to select sometimes, but just orient to it, and then the holster point. Make sure these are all named correctly, or they won't work always. So holster point back here. Now I'm going to resave this as is because it's pretty much ready to go. So test model rigging, and that's your weapon. It is now rigged up. It's not really that hard. Just you just got to go through the process. It's even easier from here when you're going to do it the next time, and I'll show you how that works out here in a second when you're going to do that. So right now we have everything kind of pretty much good to go. What I'm going to do is select everything. I'm going to unhide all first, make sure I got everything out of this scene. Yeah, okay. Make sure nothing else is in your scene. You didn't hide the character and not forget to delete him, or he'll show up in game. So what I want to do is select everything real quick. Oh, you know what? I didn't ungroup this weapon yet. Ungroup it. And we're going to call it Easy UMP 40. Okay. And we're going to select everything again, except for the right hand point. And we're going to actually link them all to the right hand point. This really shouldn't matter. It's just a preference of mine. I think it makes everything a little bit nicer when you go back into it, and you should link everything to the weapon, I think, but it's just a habit of mine, a bad habit, I guess, from when I started modding. Nonetheless, test model rigging is done, so we can save it. I'm going to go ahead and file export. We're going to use the map export. We're going to go to, I'm going to use my mod folder that's for this, so I'm going to go mods. I'm using my Weapons of War 4 mod folder. So here we have, I've created model and textures. These are important. So in model, I'm going to go ahead and go in here and create PZ underscore UMP40 dot QOB. Or make sure you name it dot QOB, and that's going to let you actually use the weapon in game. You can see here, it's not just map files, it's POBs, characters, dot coobs, cobs, or whatever you want to call them. And save it. It's going to export, or it's going to bring up the export dialog. I actually turn weld vertices off and clean vertex attributes. I don't find them useful for weapons, personally. Usually weld vertices will make faces kind of disappear, and even if you set the number real low, it still does it, so I don't weld them. I'll just click OK. Usually it goes scene export successful, OK, save it. What we got to do now is we want to grab that texture. If I can go to the modding files real quick, you can see how crazy my folders are getting. It's building up. So the UMP folder here, we have the RSB file in. So I'm going to go to my mods folder. And remember, in my mod folder, I got the textures folder set up. So we got to find the texture for it, which is UMP. Where is it? I'm not seeing it. PZ UMP40.RSB. I'm going to copy it here into the textures folder, and it should still work just fine because we referenced this with 3D Studio Max 5. So in game, it'll actually look for that file. And that's how that works. No biggie. All right. So we actually need to set up some other things real quick. So if you take a look in the original missions here, you have kits and you have equipment folder. So we need those too. So we're going to go back to our mod folder, and we need to create equip, and we need to create kits. There's a couple different ways you can go about doing this. You can do it all just text editing, or you could use Igor. Igor has a kit editor and also has a gun editor, I believe. I don't ever use those. I just use different weapons from the game, and I modify those usually instead of going through Igor and creating all kinds of new stuff. So in this case, I'm going to actually do the SA80, and I want the gun file for that. So SA80.gun, right there. I'm going to copy it. There's a kit file too, but I'm not worried about that yet. So my weapons of war folder, so equipment, I'm going to paste the .gun file in there. And you should be able to open these with Notepad. And that's all your... We're going to modify this in a bit, but I just want to make sure it was in there. And it should be... I want to make it open with real quick. Open with Notepad. Yes, I could, or I could do Notepad++. Yeah, there we go. I prefer open it with Notepad++, but that's just me. All right, so we got the gun file here. What we're going to do is just rename it. So PZ_UMP40. That's the .gun file. That's all we need. When it comes to kits, I'm going to copy another kit file. We're just going to do ammo. Rifleman. Rifleman 1 is the 203. Rifleman 2 is the ammo one. So that should... Oh, no, sensor. Let's do ammo. Where is it? Rifleman 4. Okay. Rifleman 4 is ammo. So we're going to copy that one. And this is going to be our kit. So this is kits. And then we're going to put it under Rifleman. So kits. I'm going to create a new folder. Rifleman. Make sure you spell things right. I believe that's important when setting up the kit file. And I'm going to call this one... oops, I got to rename it. PZ_UMP40_ammo. So that I know which one it is. It's an ammo. UMP40 with ammo. And so now we can actually go in here and modify it using Notepad again. Open it with Notepad. I'm not changing the kit icon yet. I'll show you how to set up a kit icon in another video. It's not really that hard, but it's just going to make this one drag on a little too long. You can see here the item file name is m16.gun. Remember, I did PZ_UMP40.gun. Extra ammo is fine. All of that's good. Save it. You now have an ammo kit that quick. Pretty easy. You would want to change your kit texture though at a future date. Just keep that in mind because it's going to show up as a M16 right now. All right, so the kit file is set up, and we go into... we need to go back to our data folder. I'm going to explain something. Data, shell, and I'm just going to say del because of that. You see the strings folder here? Strings are important for naming and for creating weapons. We don't need all of these strings though. We only need what we're going to add to the game. It will still load all of these, and so we only need to create a strings folder that works. And you can see here, they're not really that complicated. It's just a header, and then it's a line that's set up like so. So it's really simple. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab, see weapons and items up here. I'm going to grab this one and copy it. Just the top section there, weapons and items. All right. We're going to go back to our mod folder. I know we're bouncing back and forth here. It's going to probably confuse you, but once you get the hang of this, it's really not that hard. Shoot, you know what? It was... we got to create, what was it, the shell folder? Yeah, just shell. Okay. So we're going to go Weapons of War 4, create new folder, create a shell folder. Now we're going to go to paste. Oh, sorry, we didn't create. We're not pasting. Oh, I should have remembered the names. I should have just copied it, but it was strings.txt. So keep that in mind. Create new text document. Strings. I'm not sure how important it is to put .txt at the end. I don't even know if I have to. So we're just going to type strings, see what happens. It might crash when I do this, but sometimes GR really likes to see .txt at the end, or whatever the case may be, .kit and all that. We're not creating weapon M4. We're doing PZ underscore. I always put an underscore UMP40. That's my prefix, so I want it separated. But we don't have to do it over here because this is the name that shows up in game. So we could just put UMP40. Okay, and that's it. Save it. Done. All right, our gun file. Got to go back to it. You see PZ UMP40. The only thing we got to reference to make sure this works right is the name token. Okay, weapon UMP. Oh, remember I put PZ underscore UMP40. That's it. And then the model file, which is right up here, it says IW rifle. That's the model of the SA80. We're going to do PZ underscore UMP40 dot QOB. All right, we're going to save it. Get out of those other ones real quick. And should work just fine now. Should. UMP40. Let's make sure that model was named correctly. Okay. The export debug file, you don't ever need those, so you can delete them once you do it once. Strings, I believe is good. Okay, we're about to launch this up. I want to check that strings thing real quick. It's lowercase. I don't know how much the capitalization in the lowercase matters, but I try to match whatever GR did. I think it's a good practice, so it'll keep some bugs from popping up that are weird, like maybe it's case sensitive or something like that. And so it just little things like that really I try to pay attention to. So strings should work now if it was going to have a problem. Now let's go ahead and launch it, and we'll see if it works. Launch GR up. It should work in single player. So if we go to any mission and go to just start it up, it says find key. That's the weapon. The find key means that I typed the key in wrong, but it's not crashing. The UMP is in here, so we know it's mostly working. But the find key means that the string was wrong, so we need to go back and I told you this might happen. Oh, exit GR. Don't leave it open. So we're gonna go back, equipment, PZ UMP40. We're gonna minimize it real quick just so I have it open. And we need to find shell string. I think it was strings, wasn't it? Yeah. Weapon underscore PZ UMP40 UMP40. So weapon underscore PNZ UMP40. So that's correct. Then I titled string wrong. A lot of times that'll make you crash. I'm surprised it didn't crash, to be honest. But so look, if we go in here, it says strings, an S. Yeah. So I mistyped. Let's see if it works this time. If it doesn't work this time, it needs .txt at the end. And then it should work just fine. Make sure your mod's activated in order to find your weapon. So that's important. Remember, options, mods, activate your mod you're using, accept it, and then quick mission. And we can see now UMP40 has loaded up, which is real nice. In order to test the holster point, it's useful to use a M9 kit with a suppressed M9. So let's go ahead and go back to Kit's Rifleman here. I think it's number 3. Yeah, M9 SD. So we're going to actually copy this one. We're going to go to our kits folder in Rifleman, and we're going to paste it in there. So I should have did this from the start, but you can see how fast this can be after a while. M9 SD. Okay, because we know that's the name of the pistol. We're not using M16.gun. We are using PZ UMP40.gun. And we're not changing anything else, so we're going to use default kind of kit settings for the M16. All right. Now, let's jump back in the game real quick. Let's try it out. See if I got everything working correctly. You got to just kind of jump back and forth when doing weapons. I think it's faster a little bit. But We can see we got UMP4 extra ammo, UMP4 M9A1 SD. If you set up your kit file wrong or you typo, it's probably going to crash. So keep in mind, be very particular about the way you do things. It's pretty important. But we can see we got two. The weapon is set up with two. So here we go. Skip the intro here. Let's press 7. It's going to make everybody go into recon mode, bring out their pistols. Now you can see that I did, in fact, get the weapon placed fairly well. And it's a little bit still too close to him. Remember, I told you got to bring it out quite far. So, you could just go back and try to readjust it as needed. And I'm probably going to do that here just in a second. You'll see the left-hand point where we placed it was really right around there. It's a little bit too close, so we can actually push it forward a little bit. And then bring it up and out a tiny bit. So bring it forward, and I'm gonna move the gun every time I get in the way, and over to the right just a tiny bit. So up, forward, and right to the tiny. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but it works. So he just killed somebody. Flash. Oh, I should have checked all the flash and stuff, but I'm pretty sure that works. So this point, you don't have to move it much at all. Just like very little bit forward, and then a very little bit up. And this is like the trial and error process. This is just how it goes sometimes. In this one, because I know like this is the body, like it would be sitting inside of the body. I actually want to move it, I believe locally on the Z-axis. I'm not real sure which one it is though. So this is why it's important to kind of set it up right in with the character first. When you do your mission pack, I just saved this, but when you're doing this section here, sometimes before you do all the other helper points, I would just make sure it's correct before I go any further with the right hand point and the you don't have to add the other helper points. GR won't crash without them, but I would just try to get them right first. I just want to reference this one real quick because it is the let's hide him real quick. I want to see which point that is that I'm actually looking at. Where's the tip? Can't see it. Okay, it's the Z-axis that we're going to move back on. So let's go to testing model rigging. Yeah, it is the Z-axis. All right. And when I move this back, it's actually going to lower the weapon a little bit. So we might want to pull this point down as well. It's a little bit confusing, I know, but bear with it. Bear with it. So we're going to do local. You'll see that the gizmo changes now to line up with it. And we can actually just pull it out a little bit. We didn't have much to go. We didn't have to go very far with it. So just a little bit, I think will be good. Just a tiny little bit. And as I pull that out, what's actually doing is it's kind of like raising this up so we can go back to not view, but to oh shoot, wait, no, there you go. Global here. I guess we could do view. It's supposed to be like world, I think, but I forgot what we were on. I forgot what was default. All right, so we'll use world. So as it was pushed back, this went like that. So we could just drop it down a little bit. It should work fairly well. And then once that's done, it should all be still set up pretty good. So save it, export it. Just replace your old file, and it's super quick now. Where's my Ghost Recon folder? Okay. And you can trial and error this so fast now because you just hop between GR and 3D Sumax 5 super fast. So we got the UMP40, the M9. Okay. We'll put a couple guys in here real quick so we can play with the gunfire. Press 7 real quick. Pops it out. You can see it did pull it out. It looks about the same. It's not too bad. You could raise it if you wanted to. I think it's fun. Just keep that in mind. Remember how high we placed it originally. But when he crouches now, you can see it looks like it's sitting on his knee fairly nicely. It's not too bad. And that's the point. That's what you want from this. So I'm going to go ahead and press 9 and 4. And we're going to see how it works out. If I start shooting over here at random guy, hopefully I don't get shot. But these guys should start firing here shortly. Yeah. If they don't, you can always use replays. Replays work real well for this kind of thing. See if I can get a firefight started. Oh, he's dead. No. I'm about to die too. All right, let's do the replay real quick. Speed it up. Let's get it to where we're shooting over there. So we can see the brass ejection coming out. We can see the muzzle flash. It seems to be working just fine. It's not too bad. Could just use Team Superman, I guess, to do all that, but I know I'm about to light it up. So yeah, the flash, yeah, it appears to be right. It's a little bit small. It's hard to see, but yeah, it looks like it's working. So nonetheless, that is setting up a weapon in GR for the most part. Only thing left to do is kit restrictions for multiplayer, and then also doing your kit icons and setting up all the different kits you want to use. And that's it for weapons, guys. That's really, I'll make videos on doing the multiplayer kit restrictions a little bit later. But for now, this is pretty much the whole process of making a weapon. The kit icons will be coming in another video as well. But anyways, thanks for watching and sticking through this whole tutorial. Weapons aren't really the most complicated thing to do in GR, but you can see right here, they are fairly quick once you get used to it. Oh, before I end the video, so let's say, for example, I'm going to do another weapon. Let me load up the AUG here real quick and export it out. I'm not going to do the whole process of putting it in game, but so like the AUG, let's just grab the model here and let's go ahead and export the wavefront OBJ file. I don't think it's even sized, but we're going to do selection only OBJ objects, Z or negative Y forward and Z up. We're going to do this in not AUG. Yeah, we'll do it in AUG A3. AUG OBJ. So we'll export that. So the next time you do a weapon, all you need is a scene like this. And then what you can do is import your file. So I can go to my AUG folder now and import it with the same kind of settings, multiple group, whatever. Okay, comes in. You're going to want to scale it. Turn off the snap settings. That's useful. You're going to want to scale it before you export it, but just because I'm in a rush, I didn't do that. And so in like your side view, what you're going to do is you're going to scale it. Uniform scale, by the way. Don't try to do one side or the other. I can tell from the trigger about how big this thing is going to be. A little bit bigger than the AUG, but all you're going to do is line up the trigger well area for the most part, or the trigger, or the handguard, or the grip. Kind of pay close attention to those. And what will end up happening is, as you do this, that's going to be very, very well placed with the right hand point. And so you won't have really any trouble. So like the big things to pay attention to are the top section here of the trigger well, and then where the trigger is placed and where the grip is kind of placed. Once you do that overall, it's just a matter of deleting your other weapon and then repositioning your points and making sure they're lined up and placed appropriately. For vertical grips, it's really hard to, you can't like turn the character's wrist really to hold onto that grip all that well. What I do is I usually place the hand up in this area because a lot of shooters naturally, they still hold the weapon in that area. So I'll just place it somewhere around here so the hand lines up there. So keep that in mind for bullpup weapons. And then, you know, your brass ejection point for a bullpup, it's back here. The holster point, I don't really change. I don't really need to. Um, to me, once I get a good holster placement for a rifle, I don't really need to change it around. I just let it be, and it seems to work out pretty well. And so now you're done with rigging this one up for the most part. You just, you know, if you want, you can reparent it and export it out just to prove a point. I'm going to select everything except for, we're going to take this group, ungroup, just to prove a point here. I'm not sure what it just did. It should just be one object in there. Yeah, so we're going to select everything except the right hand point, hold control to not select it. I'm going to reattach them all to the center point. And so I will save this, or no, I'm not going to save it. I'm just going to export it. Easy. I'm going to export over the UMP40, replace it. No texture on it or nothing. Just go for it. And what should end up happening with this one is if it doesn't have a texture, it might crash or it might turn white. It should turn white. But we'll take a look here. You can see it's in game now. And it's just, there's no texture on it. It might just be white here and then it crashes in game. I don't remember, but maybe it just stays white. Yeah, a lot of things, if they don't have a texture assigned, they just turn white. And so you can see very, very similar, and it's a little bit off. I should have positioned it to the right a little bit. So you can really bring in a weapon quick with this method. I just happen to, I'm going to undo real quick, go back to when the UMP40 was in here. Oh, shoot. Not a good idea. So we're going to redo select control Y. We're going to redo everything real quick. So I didn't save the position, or I didn't line it up with the UMP40 on the x-axis. I needed to do that, and I didn't. So here's a quick cheat. This is the left-hand point. Let's find the muzzle point. Usually if you have that muzzle point centered to start with, okay, it's way up here. Normally, I like to do this in the front view, but there's the muzzle point. I might turn it into right-click wireframe, and I might just slide this over until it lines up. A little hard to see it. Let's go full screen. All right. And this was the muzzle point, right? Yeah. So I'm going to line that up just right. So that should be positioned almost flawlessly now. I think the hand was a little too far. Control Shift Z should center all of these. Should. Of course it's not. Oh, just Z does all of them. Okay, never mind. Just Z. This one looked like it was a little too far back. So I'm going to push it forward a little bit and bring it down a little bit. Okay, re-export it real quick. I'm not even saving it right now because I'm just flying through it. All right, so we'll see how it turned out. If it's not quite right, I'm not going to redo it over and over for this video, but you can see there, much better now that I've shifted to where it needs to be. Let's see how it holsters too. I will, like I said, I'm going to upload a package with the helper point names and an example model. So I'll do the UMP as the example model because it's already set up and it's looking good. And I'll include the RSP file and everything so you can get used to exporting and all that. But um, I'll toss the mission pack model in there as well. As you can see, this is mostly pretty close. It's a little too high. The hand's a little bit too high on the weapon, so I had to raise the weapon up just a little bit. The left hand never looks right from the other side usually, but if you so I could probably position it a little bit lower and a little bit further to the right. Probably get it lined up just right, but you can see how fast that becomes a thing. Even the muzzle flash, even though I didn't adjust it, was pretty close, right? So yeah, that's it. That's it for weapons. Just that last little touch there. That's so you can quickly get these back in the game with a couple trial and error exports and just going back and forth. That's really not that hard. You don't have to go through that whole character model thing again and set them all up again. The only reason you do that is because you really want to get the general hand placement right first, and then you want to get the holster point right. That's it. Okay, that really it's about the holster point more than this one because you could rough that in as well, but that holster point is really hard to rough in. So nonetheless, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will be including this file, the UMP40 UMP40 testing model, the one that I finished originally. I'll include the QOB file. I'll throw all this in a little folder so that you'll have it. Make sure that's exported correctly. Actually, I'll set it up right here in the video. Why not? So you can see what you're going to end up getting. Call it a weapons creation little kit or whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. We need I'll include the weapons folder too, but I'm going to rename it. So we're just going to call it weapons mod. All right. So you know what I'm doing now. You don't have any questions about this. It's not going to be weapons of war 4. It's just going to be weapons. Think of it as like a starter weapons kit. Weapons mod. You can change the author to your name. Ghost Recon.net server client. Okay, so that should be good. Oh, I did re-export that, right? Export. Let's re-export that. Make sure you get the right one. Know what it went into Weapons of War, so we'll go to model. I just want to make sure that model is right for you. Pretty sure I did that. I don't remember though. So we'll copy it here. All right. Now I'll update this later with I will update this later with a pistol and a rocket launcher. But for now, this is weapons mod. Oh, you know what? Man, I keep going on and on and on and on about this, but I really should just do the texture real quick for the kit. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Sorry, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but we're gonna finish it out. Let's just finish it out. The multiplayer kit restrictions too. There's no reason why to not do it in one video. So we're going to do the The kit icons, this is real easy. Kit icon, we're going to load up one kit icon and go from there. But we need the side picture of the weapon. So the way I do it, I just turn smooth highlights on, go to the side, press like F10, click render, and you can see it came in with the textures. Oftentimes I'll just go back and assign it a white material. So press M, bring up the material panel, turn it white, assign it, render. So you get something like that. Usually works pretty well. You can also press M again. You can also do self-illumination and just turn it to 100 and just click render. There. That's as good as it's going to get. All right. Save that file somewhere and call it silhouette. That's what I usually do. Just name it silhouette.jpg. Save it. Good. Okay. Go into Photoshop CS2. What we're going to do is go into Ghost Recon, original missions kits, rifleman, and we did 2 and 3, or wait, 3 and 4. So we're going to load up both of those real quick. What? Open. Oh, those are the kit files. Sorry. We got to go back to data, shell, art, kit, rifleman. Data, shell, art, kit, rifleman. So 3 and 4. Okay, and if you click alpha channel over here, that's the pistol. And this is the ammo. Okay. What I need to do is I don't want to accidentally oversave these, so I'm going to actually save as, just quickly go to my mod folder. We're going to go to shell. Remember, it had shell, art, right? And then it had kit, rifleman. And I just organize it the same way. Okay. And so in this one, I'm going to do PZ underscore UMP40. This is how I organize it. This is the M9SD, PZ UMP M9SD. Okay. And all the settings should be there already. So you don't have to worry about how you're going to set this up, and just click OK. All right. And that'll be that. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do ammo. This goes a lot smoother when you have more files to reference. So if you are modding, whoops, go to GR. No, okay. If you are modding Ghost Recon, mods, Weapons of War 4, shell, art, kit, rifleman. You see we have PZ UMP40 M9. Well, now we just got to change it to ammo. And same settings, boom, done. We want to open up, let's go to Z, GR modding files, weapons, or assets, weapons, UMP40, and look for silhouette here real quick. Where is it? I just saved it. No, right there. Okay. This gets a little bit tricky. Sometimes it helps to zoom in. So control and plus sign, you can zoom in real quick. All right. On the RGB side of things, use the marquee selection. You can see here. You can select that little area like so. That's important because we need to turn this black. So press delete. As long as your back color is black, just click the little thing there. That'll work. And you can do the same thing up here. You don't have to use the little square the first time. You just get rid of it. But what we really need is this guy on this image. We need to select this whole thing. Make sure everything's selected. Press Control-C, copy it. Use the marquee selection, the magic wand tool. We're going to go over here. And in RGB, we're going to paste that image. Press Control-T. We can move it around real quick. Just try to position it in the center. Wherever the center point is. Here's the center point right there. So we can do a 10% to start with, see where we're at. We need to size it down a little bit, so we're going to hold shift and scale at the same time, just till you have about a pixel on each side, which is useful. Okay, you can see right there, like so. Now we end up with something like that. GR does their weapons to the other way, the other direction, I think. So we can flip it horizontally. I mean, you could leave it either way, but I think that looks better. And so what I do right here is I'll select this whole area. I will color black. You could do that, or you could do a layer underneath it, which is also useful. So we'll create a new layer underneath, collapse them down, copy it. In channels alpha, just Control V to paste it. Make sure it's copied though right now. Delete the layer. Yes, there's so many different ways you can kind of go about doing this, but that works for me. It's PZ UMP40. Same thing over here. I want the UMP40 in there, so Control V just to paste it. Save. Control S. Works. Done. Good. We have to go to our mod folder. Go to kits, rifleman, PZ UMP40, and so we're going to do PZ underscore UMP40 underscore, this was ammo dot RSB. Okay, save it, make sure the name's right. Same thing over here, PZ underscore UMP40, and this will be M9SD dot RSB. Save it. Good. That should work now. I want to double check the shell real quick. Sorry, I'm dragging on a little bit more, but data, shell, art, kit, rifleman. I want to make sure it's spelled right. I don't even know if the spelling matters for these, but sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So shell, it was capitalized, but I don't think that really matters. But art, kit, rifleman, PZ underscore UMP40. All right, good. All right, let's go back to the GR folder. Let's launch it one last time. We'll test it before I send it to you, and then we'll finish putting that little template mod together for you. Make sure it works. So yeah, it's in here, it's working. And it's got the M9A1SD, the UMP40. Okay, we are good. And those should just work just fine. They shouldn't crash in game. And that is the model instead of the AUG, so we know that's working. You see that the glove's a little too high. Probably pull it down, but I'll send it to you anyways like that. Overall, works. It's good. Let's go set this back up for you guys. So we're going to delete that original one because this one's for sure finished. Copy it here. Example. We'll do a weapons mod template. And we're going to change the mod's content to your name here. And we are going to change it to your weapons mod name. So yeah, do it like so. You can replace that as needed. You now have a full weapons mod kind of setup other than the kit restrictions, which is going to be a .kill file, .kit file or something. But I'll get into that in another video because I need more kits to set up for kit restrictions. So when I go and I add more weapons, I'll end up doing that. It's not real hard, but so that should be working. Weapons mod template. Okay. Let's get you some files now. Let's do GR modding modding files, assets, characters. Oh, no, that's my characters. That's not what I'm looking for. Modding files, plugins. No. Example files. So we're going to do characters. I'm going to just do mission pack model though. So we're going to do examples. And we're going to do characters, just mission pack model. Okay. And I'll release all these in a big modding kit later, but for now. Example. Weapons. Oop. Let's go back to assets, weapons, UMP40. I'm going to include the UMP model. So we're going to reassign the texture to it just so it's already set up. UMP RSB. There we go. Save it. I'm saving it for my purposes. I'm going to save this into. Oh, it's on my other computer. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to save this as test model rigging, example weapon. I'll slide it in there in a second. Okay, there we go. Got example weapon. So now we have over here somewhere example weapon. We'll put example UMP40. And then we got the mission pack model. We got the RSB file. PZ underscore UMP40. So, okay. We'll do the PZ underscore thing. Just so it makes sense. Mission pack model. So now you should be able to go to that and have that going. So let's do one more thing here just in case. Let's do documents. I'm going to include the weapon helper point list. All right. So if you ever need it, there you go. And all right, so I'm going to zip this up and upload it somewhere. Thanks for sticking through this tutorial. You'll be able to download this at a link I post in the description. Weapons mod files. Weapons modding files. There we go. And that's it. Yeah, so thanks for sticking through this video. I know it was long. Hopefully it was worth it. Hopefully you learned a lot. Only one left to do now. That's kit restrictions for multiplayer, but that one's not so hard, so we'll do that in a different video. All right, thanks for watching.